Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and behind us is the Audi wagon that gives you everything. It's the new RS4 Competition Plus.
That's right, it's a family wagon that's actually track ready. Come, let's take a look at this. Now, those of you regular viewers, which you should be, will know that we've already reviewed the RS4. Actually, it was about 3 years ago, so back in 2020. So take back in time and actually look at the link and see if you can see what's so good about the RS4, because it is a great vehicle. But anyway, the RS4 is going to become the 5 because Audi are making sure that the odd numbers are electric versions, no, are powered versions or ICE powered versions, and the even numbers are electric. But anyway, so this is going to be the last of the RS4s, actually the 4s in general, and they might as well go out with a bang, and they really have with this Competition Plus. It's limited in numbers, so in New Zealand we actually got 26 allocation, so actually 25 with this one, because I may just keep it and not give it back. But anyway, it really is something special. They've made it lower, so the suspension's been changed, the exhaust has been changed, the drive has been changed as far as it is now quicker to change gear and just far more rapid, so it's very fast. And also they've given it some cosmetic changes as well. So if you're looking around the front here, the badging, the RS4 is now in black. There's black badging around. This one's coming with some carbon fiber sort of accents around here, down the bottom here, and the lights when you comes and greets you has got a different light structure, but they're still LEDs. But look at that front, it's still got that quattro look, and just I love this vehicle. It's just the right size for me. Of course, dimensionally it's the same, and also in terms of wheelbase is very much the same. However, you may notice that it sits a little bit lower. It's actually 10 millimeters lower than the normal RS. Plus, the suspension, you can actually adjust the height of the springs and the coils behind here and drop it an extra 10 millimeters to make it really track ready. So it really will just drag its bum along the ground. So not so great if you're going to go to the shopping mall, but great for those track days that you're going to want to take this on. Round the front here, or actually in all 4 corners, we've got 20-inch. They're actually machined alloys, and they are looking amazing. And ours is fitted with Continental rubber, although you can actually get some P0s as well. The good thing about these wheels, they're 2 kilograms lighter in each corner, so very much on about weight saving, and just amazing from there. The pistons on the front here are 6 calipers, so they will pull you to a halt very quickly. And also I understand you can actually get better upgrade brakes as well, which is, again, those track ready people. A lot of the stuff underneath has been changed, so like I said, it's very much a performance-led, performance-driven vehicle, although there is still practicality, which Matthew will go into in a while. And as you can see, we also come with some carbon packs, so your door mirrors here are covered in carbon, and there's, again, more accents around. Underneath, you've got an exhaust that's also taken all the baffles out. So I think that's I don't know, saving of another few kilograms, but also gives you an audio note that's just amazing. Like I said, it is a practical vehicle too. So you've got 495 litres of boot space, which is plenty for those weekends away, which is awesome. And also, as the tailgate comes down, you'll see the black rings, so the logo's now in black. Your RS4 is in black, again with those black logos. Under the bottom here, you've got a new rear differential, so added to the quattro system, makes it more powerful and actually gives it that little bit more traction, which is amazing. And also you've got more of the carbon splitter down here, and also again with that exhaust tip. Look at that, I can get my whole fist in there. It's crazy. As with the regular RS4, this one also comes with a 2.9 litre V6 twin turboed engine mated to an 8-speed DSG box, and actually the same numbers actually, so it's 331 kilowatts and 600 newton meters of torque. However, they have remapped it, so now you get an extra 0.2 of the seconds 0 to 100, so 3.9 0 to 100, which is just phenomenal. It's gut-wrenching and just absolutely amazing, and it's something you want to just keep doing more and more of. Anyway, something you want to do probably less and less of. Actually, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Being in the cabin of this new RS4, Competition Plus takes me back in a way to 3/4 years ago when Dave and I reviewed the RS4 when it first came out. But while there's an essence of familiarity here, there's also many things that are different because of those two words, competition and plus. So for starters, the very seats that I'm sitting in, these are the carbon bucket options that we get here in New Zealand, but I understand that in some of the international markets, you can have different types of seats. So you can have these options, or you can have the RS Sport seats as well, which are slightly more comfortable depending on your age, obviously. The bucket seats themselves are extremely supportive. Dave was doing a proper Audi Sport kind of drive on some back roads earlier this morning, and poor me in the passenger seat, I was kept in place, let's say, by the bolsters on those bucket seats. Yes, they can be a little bit uncomfortable for uh, commuting, and especially if you're on rougher roads. So I had a bit of trouble keeping my coffee in its cup this morning on some of the more open pore stuff. But otherwise, they are comfortable once you're in them. The seat belts as well have got a little, as you can see there, black and red color on them just to further reinforce that Audi Sport concept. You've got that Quattro badge over there. Obviously, this is no normal Quattro system with that new differential on the back, allowing some more play to happen from that sense. The other noticeable difference with the cabin of this Competition Plus car is the use of Alcantara. So you've got Alcantara on the top of the gear shifter here. You've got a completely Alcantara covered steering wheel, which takes you back to the first generation RS4 in its look and feel. Speaking of look and feel, they've pointed out the carbon fiber bits on the outside of the car, and well, that translates to the interior as well, where you've got this exposed carbon panel across the middle here, and then down the center console as well, more carbon fiber going on there. So there is plenty of performance aspects and things to remind you of the car you're in and how special it is. Remember, we are only getting 26 of these in New Zealand, so it's a noticeably rare car. Otherwise, it is still an RS4, and emphasis on that 4 number at the end of it. The practicality aspect, you've got your cup holders, your nooks and things to store your stuff, especially on family road trips. And then you've also got a nice under sort of armrest space here with a wireless charger for your phone that keeps it hidden from view, which I quite like. The buttons themselves feel really nice, just like the RS4 that we reviewed a few years ago, and they've got a really nice response to when you interact with them. Listen to this. Nice. While this infotainment screen hasn't gone through that much change from the standard car, the RS4, there are a few aspects that are different now. So firstly, when I go into the home screen there, you can see that again is very familiar if you know the Audi system. But what I want to dive into is the car menu there, because you can see a cheeky RS badge on there. And if I click into that, really we're not bothered with the air conditioning or efficiency assist, even though that's on an RS4 for some reason. Really want to look at these two things, the Audi Drive Select and the RS Monitor. So when you dive into the Audi Drive Select option, you can take a look through the 3 different preset menus, so your dynamic, auto, or comfort. And then you also have the option of setting up your RS1 and RS2s. So selecting into that, it allows you to choose between the drive system, steering, engine sound, and Quattro, as you can see there, with sport differential. While we're here, I actually want to talk about the steering, because that's another remarkable thing there as well. So what they've done is give it a fixed ratio steering. So depending on whichever mode you're in, the steering feedback sort of will be the same, or your input rather, but the weight of the steering changes. So comfortable has the lightest steering weight, and then dynamic, it becomes a lot more heavy. So I think a Tarmac Life top tip from Dave here is to leave it in comfortable, but put everything else into dynamic. Most notably, the engine sound should always be in pronounced. Back into there, and now into the RS Monitor. So here you want to have a look at the different temperatures of the car. So you can see the sport differential there, the gear oil, engine, and it tells you about the temperatures and general status of everything. And you flick through there and you have a G-force meter for your different corners, and obviously acceleration and deceleration, and then move over once again and you've got the tire pressure indicator as well. So it's really got a lot of different points of information, certainly on the performance aspect in the screen there. Now, in front of the driver there, you have this digital screen, and that gives you a lot of information. Now, Dave has had it set up in the performance aspect, and you can see there that the screen is showing what you'd expect to have seen on an original Audi Quattro in terms of the way the rev counter is shown and all of that. Note how it's very much performance driven in terms of what it shows. So you got your G meter there, rev counter, speed, power and torque percentage, and then you've also got your boost down the bottom right as well. This can be changed, of course, in terms of its orientation, so you can actually have it in sort of a more techie outlook, let's say, or a more traditional outlook as well if you want. So there is customization allowed there for the driver. Speaking of the driver, the steering wheel itself, as I said before, Alcantara with the red stitching. It is notably quite large, I have to say, but still feels good to hold and good especially when you're throwing the car around corners. It's also got these sort of aluminium tipped paddle shifts, which make it really easy to flick through the gears and especially keep the car in its power band when you're going around corners. So plenty of fun to be had thanks to that RS badge at the bottom there. Now, you'll notice that that's not Dave, unless he sort of rewound in time somehow and grown a bit of a beard as well, and some glasses. What we've actually done is swapped Dave with Harry as our resident stunt driver, if you like, to test the RS4 a bit more, shall we say, certainly in its performance credentials. So I think what we can do is start off with pulling away, right? Let's see what you got, Harry. The funny thing is that, as Dave has said before, is that there is actually no power difference between this RS4 Competition Plus and the regular RS4. But what this does is introduce a remap, which then gives you that quicker shifts. You've got that sport differential at the back. The 0 to 100 time is now 3.9 seconds, and while I don't think we quite got there just now, you can still feel that this is a mighty quick car. And even once you hit 100, it still has a lot more to give from then on.
Absolutely, this was a sprint to 100 and it felt like it just could keep going forever.
And that is what that sheer power feels like, the 444 brake horsepower. I mean, this RS4 just does wonders with putting that to the ground and making you feel not just the sensation of speed, but also the noise. I think that almost emotionally, if you like, you can hear the car's shifts, you can hear it going through the revs, climbing speed, all of that stuff. It just makes it such an engaging drive and makes it feel special, I think.
Absolutely, it sounds great from the inside, it sounds good from the outside as well. You get to experience that dual clutch shift experience that we were talking about just before starting the drive. It's very characteristic from the brand, something that you do expect. It's amazing to sort of get it to sing a little bit more.
And while, you know, I talk about the emotion and the sensations and all of that stuff, that is all actually extremely important with this particular RS4 Competition Plus, I'd say, more so than any RS4 gone before. Primarily for the fact that this is it. This is the end of the RS4 after more than 2 decades. You know, it feels quite gut-wrenching to say that, because it's always been, certainly for much of the time that I've been alive, and I think Harry as well, a hallmark of a performance family car, family wagon. But in earlier days it was sedan and wagon, and now just a wagon. And to lose it, you know, for performance enthusiasts, and particularly for us who really enjoy practical performance cars, I think feels like a part of you has gone missing. Yeah. Not knowing that the RS4 won't be around anymore. So I think it's absolutely fitting that Audi have gone all out with making it noisy, with making it leery, with lowering it, doing everything to make it a really memorable car. And I think Harry will probably tell you in a moment how memorable it feels to drive.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that it just made sense that Audi would throw everything at their disposal for a send-off on a car like this. For many people, it is the car that made that created their impression of what Audi is. Of course, it has the Quattro, it has the body shape that Audi has been renowned for so much time, and after being a nameplate that was around for 20 years in different body shapes and in different formats, and in many places a forbidden fruit, to now be what it is, I think it's just befitting. And as you said, it's very memorable and it just goes. It's amazing.
It does sort of illegal speeds, if you like. Not that we've gone anywhere near there, but it can do those illegal speeds pretty much with a poke of the accelerator. It's quite special, and I've got to say, despite all of that performance, the noise, everything, you know, the two of us can sit in the back there relatively comfortably. The boot is just massive. It's 400 something liters, as Dave said. Plenty to get your stuff in the back. You have the famous ski hatch as well going through for its European use, but then at the same time has that performance aspect. So I think while that's always been, that practicality and performance aspect has always been a hallmark of the RS4, I don't think there's anyone that has gone before that has done it quite as well as this car has done.
Again, I completely agree. It's not just a fast car for the sake of being fast. It has always been able to introduce the practicality of the amazing Quattro system. Even the case that it has the roof rails, and then you can put racks and use for your skis and your boards and go up to the mountains and carry all the stuff that you need to, and 5 people with comfort. It's just the complete package.
As much as we can rave on, I think all day, to be honest, about this particular car and how much we love Audi Sport and RS cars, there are downsides, like with every car, and this is a review, an honest one at that. I think for one, it is the fact that these bucket seats, while extremely good on a road full of corners, are probably not what you want for everyday driving in terms of getting in and out of them. They also don't have any electronic controls. It's just manual, and then you only get heated seats, not ventilated seats. So you are paying quite a premium for this car, and to not have all of those things feels a little bit of a loss to some extent.
Yeah, and especially with all the Alcantara that is spread across the car, it's not the most breathable material, so it gets quite hot. So the air conditioning is doing a lot of the work in a hot day like today, because yeah, steering wheel, the gear shifter, the seats only having heating, it definitely compromises a little bit of the comfort. Once you're in, they're amazing. They will hug you through these bends and everything, but getting in and out, you really have to be careful with this bolster.
That's correct. And when they've gone and made the frequent touch points or very used points, Alcantara, you can see that maybe not the first owner will have trouble with them, but later on in life they might not be so good looking as they are now on the brand new car. The other thing I think is in the suspension. So they've gone and dropped it by 10 mils compared to the regular RS4, and what's that's done, it has stiffened the ride a bit, not too much admittedly. It's still relatively comfortable, but on a bumpy open pore road you may have some trouble and may need to see an osteopath if you do repeated drives on rougher roads.
It can probably be picked up by the mics, that because of how much it doesn't filter much of the stuff that is happening on these open pore roads, that it does make it a little bit more noisy, a little bit more bumpy, especially if you go into the harsher suspension settings. But yeah, just something that you're signing up with when you go for an RS4, right?
And don't forget that at the end of the day you can drop the suspension, the ride height, by a further 10 mils after what Audi has done from factory. So there's that too. If you feel like you want more low, and I know Harry is certainly a fan of low cars,
yes,
they've given you the toolkit in the back to do it yourself, and the instruction that yes, it can go 10 mils lower. So well, why not? Now that Harry has actually spent some time behind the wheel, I'm actually going to ask him what it feels like before I introduce some Audi terminology and technology here. So tell me about the response, the feedback, all of that.
Yeah, it feels very well dampened, as you don't experience a lot of roll when you go into the bends. You feel like there is a lot of front grip that you can just really rely on the car to keep its track as you go through it. Even when giving it a little bit more power inside of the bends, it never felt like it was being upset by that, and you can gauge a little bit of that by how much the steering wheel weights adds weight to the trajectory. So yeah, it's very good.
So in simple terms, what Audi have done basically is make the steering wheel fixed ratio in terms of its input to the wheels. But with every step up you take in terms of the drive mode settings, so going to sport or comfort or whatever, it will make the steering wheel feel heavier, if you like, artificially almost, in sport. So a real, as I said before, tarmac life top tip, and I think Harry has just spoken about reinforcing that, is keep the steering wheel in comfort and enjoy the lightness of it, and then also the optimum feedback too. So there you have it. Dave's been through this, Harry's been through this, I've been through it. The new Audi RS4 Competition Plus. It's, well, how do I say this without getting teary-eyed? This is the send-off for the iconic Audi RS4, which has dominated that practical performance market for the last more than 2 decades. It's done the speed, the noise, the handling, the practicality, all of those so well for so long. It's going to be difficult to say goodbye to this one, but I think if there was a way to do that, they have done it.
Could not agree more. What a proper send-off. It has everything that you would expect from a proper RS4, and turned up a little bit to like 10.5. Let's call it that. And while I'm sad to see such an important car no longer being produced, I think that if there was a way to say goodbye, this is probably the one.
All right, tarmac life top tip there. Go and buy the Audi RS4, and if you do want to buy one, try and get a Competition Plus. Might be a bit difficult because they're only bringing 26 into New Zealand, but if you can get your hands on one, it's well worth it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and the 3 of us, and Dave who's not here, we'll see you on the next one.